Back in the Stone Age, there was nothing like houses or cars. Our ancestors, blinded by darkness, stood in those caves and painted on stones. But they weren't drawing images or things they had seen. They were drawing straight from their imaginations. They painted dreams, possibilities, animals leaping midair, running in groups, and hunts that had not even happened. These weren't records that just proved they existed. They were rehearsals, blueprints for the coming generations to follow if they wanted to survive. Centuries later, there was a man who had different notebooks, filled with hundreds of sketches of flying machines. Not because they existed, but because he believed that they could be created. And all these happened long before aviation came into existence. It was Leonardo da Vinci. Some centuries after Leonardo, the Wright brothers finally created aviation just by flying kites and an obsession with a toy they got when they were kids. And that made them think that if kites could fly, why not us? Every breakthrough and every invention in human history started with someone crazy enough to imagine something more, something everyone else wouldn't dare to imagine. Imagination did not come after invention. Inventions were created by imagination. It always has and always will. Imagine being in a room, dressed to kill, and playing the piano to a large congregation. You could not only hear every single note you hit, but you could feel the pulse in your fingers. You played so well that you got a standing ovation. But suddenly the curtains fall off, and you are back to your reality. This phenomenon is called daydreaming. But did you know that your brain cannot tell the difference of daydreaming from reality? Neuroscience reveals that when you imagine something vividly, there are parts of the brain that light up as if you are actually doing it. That is why astronauts mentally walk themselves through every step of their mission to prepare them adequately for space. Pro athletes also tend to visualize before a game, not just for motivation, but because it helps them train their muscles to remember. Fun fact, NASA actually trains their astronauts to use their imagination as part of their protocol. Imagination is not just about positive thinking, it's a form of training. It's part of the mission. Your brain believes what you show it, and also believes what you imagine. So the question is, what are you feeding your brain? Think about what you could teach your brain with your imagination. Here is something most people do not realize. They think imagination is just daydreaming, but to people like Nikola Tesla, it was a tool. Nikola Tesla was one of the most brilliant inventors in history, and he didn't just sketch his ideas or tinker in a lab or build them first to see what would fail. He would build the whole machine in his mind, down to the moving parts. He imagined them working, then breaking down, fixing the problem, and then making them work again. And when he finally built them in real life, they worked just like he had imagined. That is the power of mental rehearsals. He trusted his mind more than his drawing board. How cool is that? And it is not just inventors who did this. In some Buddhist traditions, there are monks who spend hours visualizing compassion. This is not meditating in silence. This is them literally picturing themselves being kind, connecting to how being compassionate would make them look, sound, and even feel in real life. When neuroscientists scanned these monks' brains, they saw a spike in the gamma waves. They found notable physical changes in these monks. Their emotional control got stronger, they could handle stress better, and they even developed a deeper state of learning. All of these came from their imagination. Nothing around them changed. No equipment, no movements, just their thoughts repeatedly focused with purpose. And it was enough. One thing we need to take note of is that the brain is always changing. Every thought, every habit, every experience, and every new skill you acquire shapes the way your brain is wired. And scientists call this constant change neuroplasticity. It simply explains that your brain is not fixed. It adapts, and it can change. Here, imagination plays an important role. When you imagine something continuously and consistently over a period of time, your brain starts to see and treat it like a practice. It begins to build connections to this imagination, strengthening pathways to this thought. Think about it. You don't need to move a muscle to create change. You just need to focus and repeat. That's why pro athletes use what they call mental reps. They'll rehearse the same move in their minds over and over again for hours. Every jump, every pass, every reaction. Because the brain responds almost like it's happening for real. And it's not just for sports. Musicians, public speakers, and even surgeons all use this mental rehearsal to get sharper and prepare themselves for what is to come. It's not magic, it's biology. There's even a saying in neuroscience that says, neurons that fire together, wire together. So you know, imagination is literally shaping your brain, whether you're paying attention or not. So if imagination is rewiring your brain anyway, what are you wiring it for? So how do we actually use this in practical situations in our lives? I need you to know that it's simpler than you think. You don't need a perfect morning routine or some big ritual to make this work. Start small, before your day begins, before the noise of the world kicks in. Take a moment and close your eyes and imagine the kind of day you want to have. Picture how you want it to go. Now don't go picturing a fantasy. Picture something real, an ideal way that your day could go. Make it a calm and steady day. See yourself handling things well, you getting through what truly matters. Responding instead of reacting, staying focused, staying grounded, and moving with intention. Rehearse that big conversation mentally, walk through it in your mind. Picture yourself handling that situation well. Not perfectly, just better. Imagine what it would feel like if you spoke clearly and stayed calm. That mental rehearsal is what makes a difference and can help your brain rewire and change. Even 5 minutes a day of intentionally imagining what you want can start to shift and change the way you show up and do things. It's simple and powerful. Because the truth is, you're not just imagining, you're rehearsing, you're teaching your brain what to expect and how to react. You're simply programming your mind towards the kind of person you want to become. Every great invention, every courageous act of kindness, every bold idea, every shift, every life transformed, all started as a single thought that someone chose to believe in and practiced until it became real. Imagination shouldn't be overlooked because it's a tool. Use it, shape it, and return to it often. Because the future you're building starts in your mind. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching.